So, hi, I'm Jillian Smith. Like Monty said, I am a resident of Akron, born and raised. I am many things, but what I came here to talk to you about tonight is me being the founder of ChickLits, Akron's girls-only punk rock book club. ChickLits is a space where women empower themselves and each other by connecting through literature, punk rock tunes, potluck recipes, and giving back to the city of Akron. I just want to tell you a little bit about the history of book clubs. So, book clubs originated as Bible study groups as early as the Puritan times in America. During the Industrial Revolution, book clubs were on the rise. They were a space where women would gather to talk not only about literature and the fine arts while drinking tea and eating cakes, but they also talked about social activism like the constructs of the women's role in the home, women's rights to work and vote, and racial inequality. Some book clubs were even recorded to have taught Black women how to read in a time where that was forbidden. Similar to today, 19th century book clubs aimed at the goal of developing one's self-improvement and self-culture through literature and community. They were also an integral part of the original women's movement. With the same ideals as the earliest book clubs, where women would gather to talk about the constraints of the women's role in the home as wife, mother, housemaid, and nurturers, the 1950s saw another rise in the popularity of book clubs. They were also sharing recipes, decorating tips, and encouraging one another as each of them struggled to meet the criteria of this seemingly impossible definition of the modern woman. Throughout the next several decades, book clubs continued to gain popularity, where today thousands of readers are following book clubs by celebrities like Oprah, Emma Watson, and David Bowie. So here's the story of how ChickLits was born. During my mid-20s, I was going through an existential quarter-life crisis, and as many of you can probably relate, your 20s are a time of a roller coaster of ups and downs. At 26, unsure of the direction my life was taking in general, I was all down and out, feeling that I still hadn't had it all figured out like my peers seemed to. And a friend asked me a question that changed my life forever. The question was, Jillian, what brought you joy as a child? And the first thought that came to my mind was reading. I remember getting completely lost in books as a kid, and that continued throughout my teenage years. However, when I went to college, that passion had just kind of been swept under the rug and forgotten. So I dove in and I read a book. Within 6 months, I had read nearly 50 titles, and gradually I felt a very palpable change within me. I was happier. I had a better idea of the kind of woman I wanted to be, the kind of love that I wanted to find, and I grew more empathetic towards different walks of life. Reading is often a very solitary hobby, and I wanted to talk to somebody about the books I was reading that were changing my life. So I spent the next several months brainstorming different ideas, and I sat on those ideas like a chicken on an egg for several months. Not sure if I would have the courage to put myself, the nerdy, fat punk girl, out in the open. In the summer of 2016, I read that my idol, the queen of punk rock, Patti Smith, had announced her 70th birthday show at the Riviera Theater in Chicago, and I told my brother that I would sell my soul to be there. That Christmas morning, having completely forgotten about our conversation, I opened an envelope with 2 tickets to that very show to attend with my dad. Patti Smith is a legendary musician, poet, author, and bookworm herself. In fact, her memoir, Just Kids, was the first book I picked up in my reading journey. When I saw her, an unconventionally beautiful woman, play and sing her guts out, I knew what I had to do. As a resident of Highland Square, it was a very natural decision that I host ChickLits in Akron's oldest punk bar, Annabelle's. Much to my surprise, the owners were very supportive of my idea. So in April of 2017, ChickLits had our first meeting. I marketed solely through Facebook, and over 50 women attended. A few months have passed since we celebrated our 1-year anniversary and our first year of accomplishments, such as hosting a drag show celebrating the LGBTQ community, a body-positive burlesque show, a poetry jam, a period drive where we donated over 150 boxes of feminine products to homeless women in Akron, a pop-up theater show where we brought awareness to the addiction crisis in our area. Renard was there. And a book drive donating to Akron Children's Hospital's Reach Out and Read program. We have had a plethora of speakers talking about controversial topics such as the addiction crisis, the Me Too movement, transgender and non-binary individuals, and fat liberation with books to match. Punk riot girl feminism originated during the third wave of feminism out of the indie music scene of the 1990s, including bands like Bikini Kill, Bratmobile, and Sleater Kinney, just to name a few. ChickLits has embraced their attitude as women who are against racism, homophobia, sexism, ageism, fatphobia, and classism, and any other isms for that matter. However, they are for girl power, a woman's right to speak freely, and to be celebrated for her individuality. It's very interesting from my perspective to see how the club has evolved by noting that our discussions have become much like Riot Girl workshops, where our members are not only making friends and reading books, but they are also learning to grow inside of this space by learning about marginalized groups and doing the work within the social syllabus. No, you don't have to be a punk to attend our meetings. After all, punk isn't all about studded leather jackets and green mohawks, rather than an attitude of fighting in a world to be your most authentic self while challenging the norm. While ChickLits has read several feminist titles, we have also covered several genres of classics, or genres like classics, such as those by Flannery O'Connor and Will Burroughs, horror, books of poetry, LGBT fiction, and graphic novels. I stand before you tonight as a woman who believes that reading books can change the world. Our next meeting is this coming Tuesday at Annabelle's at 7:30, located at 784 West Market Street. Ladies, make sure you add us on Facebook and Instagram. This month we are reading James Baldwin's classic, Giovanni's Room. We will also be collecting donations for Giovanni Santiago's Meta Center on Britton Road, which offers refuge, education, and support for the transgender and non-binary youth and their families. On behalf of all of the ChickLits, ladies, we hope to see you all there on Tuesday. Gentlemen, thank you for your support of the club. You're more than welcome to read along with us, and it is appreciated, your respect for women's only spaces. Everyone here tonight is encouraged to go home, turn off your televisions, and read a book. I promise it will change your life. Thank you.